Your Honor, my father will have your job by Monday. That's what 23-year-old Derek Langston said to me, right here, in my courtroom, after he killed 4 people. I'm Judge Frank Caprio, and I've been on this bench in Providence Municipal Court for over 3 decades. I've seen thousands of cases, heard every excuse, watched people at their worst and their best. But what I witnessed that morning shook me to my core. If you believe justice should be equal for everyone, no matter how rich or powerful, you'll want to see what happens next. Let me take you back to that day. It was a cold Tuesday morning. The courtroom was packed. Word had already spread through the building. A congressman's son, a drunk driving case, 4 dead. The media was camped outside. My bailiff, Officer Martinez, had to add extra security. Case 2026 TR 4471, Martinez announced. State of Rhode Island versus Derek James Langston. Vehicular manslaughter. 4 counts. Operating under the influence. Leaving the scene of an accident. The courtroom went silent. I looked down at the file in front of me. 4 victims. The Chen family. Thomas Chen, age 37. His wife, Maria, age 35. Their daughters, Lily and Emma, ages 9 and 6. Thomas worked 2 jobs. He was a nurse at Rhode Island Hospital during the day. At night, he drove for a ride-share company to save money for his daughter's college funds. Maria was a 2nd-grade teacher. She stayed late after school every day to tutor kids who needed extra help, for free. That night, they were driving home from Emma's school play. She had played a sunflower, her first time on stage. Maria had texted her sister a photo. Emma was smiling so big you could barely see her eyes. They never made it home. "Good morning," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Mr. Langston, please step forward." The courtroom doors opened. Derek Langston walked in like he was arriving at a party. I'm not exaggerating. He smiled. He wore a custom navy suit that probably cost more than most people make in a month. His shoes were polished so bright they reflected the courtroom lights. His hair was styled perfectly, gold watch, designer sunglasses hanging from his collar. Behind him walked 3 lawyers in matching gray suits. They carried leather briefcases and moved like a wall. Derek looked around the courtroom. He spotted the cameras, and he smirked. My chest tightened, but I kept my face neutral. "Mr. Langston," I said, "do you understand the charges against you?" He shrugged, actually shrugged. "Yeah, I guess," he said. His voice was casual, bored, like I'd asked him about the weather. One of his lawyers leaned forward quickly. "Your Honor, my client understands the charges and—" "I'm speaking to your client," I said firmly. "Mr. Langston, this is a court of law. You will address me with respect. Do you understand?" Derek tilted his head. He smiled again. "Sure thing, Judge." The way he said "judge" made it sound like an insult. A woman in the gallery gasped. I didn't need to look to know it was Maria Chen's sister. She'd been sitting in the front row every day since the arraignment, her eyes red, her hands shaking. I took a deep breath. "Let's proceed." The prosecutor stood. Her name was Rachel Diaz. She'd been with the district attorney's office for 8 years. I'd never seen her hand shake before, but that day, they did. "Your Honor," she began, "on the night of January 18th, at approximately 9:47 p.m., the defendant was driving a silver Porsche 911 Turbo S eastbound on Cranston Avenue. His blood alcohol level was .21, nearly 3 times the legal limit." She clicked a remote. The courtroom screen lit up. Security footage, black and white, grainy, but clear enough. A silver Porsche speeding through a red light. No brake lights, no slowing down. Then impact. The Chen family's blue Honda Accord crumpled like paper. The Porsche spun, hit a streetlight, stopped. For 5 seconds, nothing moved. Then the Porsche door opened. Derek stumbled out. He looked at the wreckage. He pulled out his phone, not to call 911. He took a selfie. I'm not making this up. He stood there with a destroyed car and 4 dying people behind him, and he took a picture of himself. Then he got back in his Porsche and drove away. The courtroom erupted. People shouted. Maria's sister sobbed. I had to bang my gavel 3 times. "Order," I called. "Order in this court." Derek barely blinked. He whispered something to his lawyer. They both chuckled. My jaw clenched. "Mr. Langston," I said slowly, "4 people died that night. A father, a mother, 2 little girls. Do you have anything to say?" He leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms. "With all due respect, Your Honor," he said, not sounding respectful at all, "I don't think we should jump to conclusions. Accidents happen." The room went cold. "Accidents?" I repeated. "Yeah," Derek said. He waved his hand dismissively. "I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's not like I meant to hit them. It was dark. I didn't see the light." "You were drunk," I said. "I had a few drinks," he corrected. "I was celebrating. I'd just closed a business deal. My dad always says you gotta celebrate the wins." He smiled again. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. That's not what judges do. We stay calm, we follow the law, we let the evidence speak. "Ms. Diaz," I said, "please continue." Rachel introduced evidence number 1, Derek's phone records. At 9:52 p.m., 5 minutes after the crash, he called his father, Congressman Richard Langston. The call lasted 4 minutes. At 9:58 p.m., he called his lawyer. At 10:03 p.m., he called a private car service. At no point did he call 911. "Your Honor," Rachel said, "a bystander called for help at 9:51 p.m. Paramedics arrived at 9:59 p.m. Thomas Chen was still alive. He died in the ambulance. Maria and the 2 girls were pronounced dead at the scene." She paused. Her voice cracked. "If the defendant had called for help immediately, Mr. Chen might have survived." The courtroom was silent except for quiet crying. I looked at Derek. He was texting. "Mr. Langston," I said sharply, "put the phone away." He looked up, annoyed. "I'm just telling my assistant to push back my lunch reservation." "Put the phone away." He sighed dramatically, slid the phone into his pocket. One of his lawyers stood. "Your Honor, my client has cooperated fully with—" "Sit down," I said. The lawyer sat. I leaned forward. "Mr. Langston, do you understand the seriousness of what happened?" Derek scratched his neck. "Look, Judge, I get it. It's sad. But stuff happens, you know. People die every day. I can't carry that around forever." A man in the gallery stood up. "You monster," he shouted. My gavel came down hard. "Sir, please sit down or I'll have you removed." The man sat, but his face was red with rage. Derek laughed, actually laughed. "See what I mean?" he said to his lawyers, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Emotional people, they don't get how the world works." Rachel wasn't done. Evidence number 2, text messages, recovered from Derek's phone. She read them aloud, 10:47 p.m., to his friend Kyle. "Dude, I totally wrecked someone, LOL. Dad's fixing it." 10:52 p.m., to his girlfriend Brittany. "Babe, I might be late tomorrow. Gotta deal with some legal BS. So annoying." 11:15 p.m., to Kyle again. "My lawyer says I'll probably just pay a fine. Rich people problems, haha." Each message hit like a punch. Maria's sister was sobbing now. Her husband held her. Derek noticed. He rolled his eyes. "Your Honor," he said suddenly, "how much longer is this going to take? I have a meeting at 3. The room exploded. People yelled. Someone threw a wadded-up tissue. Officer Martinez stepped forward. I banged the gavel until my hand hurt. "Mr. Langston," I barked, "you will sit there and you will listen. 4 people are dead because of your choices. The least you can do is show them respect." Derek's smile finally faded, but not from shame, from irritation. "Whatever," he muttered. One of his lawyers grabbed his arm, whispered urgently in his ear. Derek shook him off. "I'm fine," he said loudly. "Let's just get this over with." I felt my heart pounding. In 30 years, I'd never wanted to leave the bench and shake someone. But I stayed seated. I stayed professional. "Ms. Diaz," I said quietly, "your final evidence." Rachel hesitated. "Your Honor, this next piece is difficult." She played a video, dashboard camera footage from a delivery truck that had been stopped at the same intersection. The angle was perfect. We watched Derek's Porsche speed through the red light at over 90 miles per hour. We saw the collision, heard the terrible crunch of metal, saw the Honda flip twice before landing on its roof. We saw Derek get out, stumble, look directly at the wreckage, and then, this is the part I'll never forget, he laughed. On camera, clear as day. Derek Langston looked at the car where 4 people were dying, and he laughed. Then he took his selfie, got back in his car, and drove away. The video ended. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. I looked at Derek. He was staring at his fingernails. "Mr. Langston," I said. My voice was barely above a whisper. "You laughed." He glanced up. "What?" "In the video, after you hit them. You laughed." He frowned like he was trying to remember. "Oh, yeah, I think I was in shock or something. People react weird to trauma." "Trauma," I repeated. "Yeah," he said. "It was traumatic for me too, you know. I could have been hurt." That's when Maria's sister screamed. It wasn't words, just a raw, broken scream of grief and rage. Officers moved toward her, but I held up my hand. "It's okay," I said gently. "It's okay." She collapsed into her husband's arms, sobbing. Derek watched her. Then he turned to his lawyer and said, loud enough for the whole courtroom to hear, "Is she done yet? This is taking forever." 10 seconds of silence. I'm not exaggerating. For 10 full seconds, nobody in that courtroom made a sound. Then the gallery erupted. People shouted, cursed, cried. Officer Martinez called for backup. 2 more officers rushed in, but I didn't hear any of it. Because I was staring at Derek Langston, this 23-year-old boy who had killed 4 people and felt nothing, who saw their pain as an inconvenience, who thought his father's power made him untouchable. I felt something I rarely feel on this bench. Anger, not the hot, explosive kind, the cold, focused kind, the kind that demands justice. I banged my gavel, once, hard. The room went silent. "Mr. Langston," I said, "stand up." He looked confused. "Why?" "Stand up." He stood slowly. His lawyers stood with him. I took off my glasses, set them on the bench, looked him directly in the eyes. "Derek," I said, "do you know why you're standing in my courtroom today?" He opened his mouth. I kept talking. "You're here because on January 18th you made a choice. You chose to drink. You chose to drive. And when you killed 4 innocent people, you chose to run." "Your Honor," one of his lawyers began. "I'm not finished," I said. My voice was calm, steady, but it carried through every corner of that room. "Derek, you stood over the wreckage of that car and you laughed. You took a selfie. You called your father to fix your problem. You texted your friends like it was a joke." I paused. "Do you know what Thomas Chen did that night, Derek? He worked a 12-hour shift at the hospital, saved 3 lives in the ER. Then he picked up his family because he wanted to see his daughters play. He was so proud of her." My voice got quieter. "Do you know what Maria Chen did?" "She stayed 2 hours after school ended to help a student who couldn't read. For free. Because she cared." I let that sit. "Do you know what Lily wanted to be when she grew up? An astronaut. She had a poster of the moon over her bed. Do you know what Emma's last words were? A witness heard her in the car. She said, 'Mommy, I'm scared.'" Derek's face was blank. "You took all of that away, Derek. You erased 4 futures, 4 lives full of love and potential and dreams, and when you stood in front of their destroyed car, you laughed." I leaned forward. "You said your father will have my job by Monday. You said I don't understand how the world works. You're right, Derek, I don't understand your world. A world where money means you don't have to care, where power means you don't have consequences, where 4 dead bodies are just an inconvenience." I put my glasses back on. "But here's what I do understand. In this courtroom, your father's name means nothing. Your money means nothing. Your attitude means nothing. The only thing that matters is the law, and the law says you are guilty." "Derek James Langston," I said formally, "I find you guilty on all counts. Vehicular manslaughter, 4 counts. Operating under the influence, leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. His lawyers immediately started talking. I ignored them. Here is your sentence. I looked down at my notes, but I didn't need them. I'd been thinking about this all morning. First, financial penalty. You will pay $1 million, $250,000 to each victim's family. That money will go into trust funds for funeral costs, lost income, and counseling services. Derek's eyes widened. $1 million, I'm not finished. He closed his mouth. Second, license suspension. 20 years. No driving, no permits, no exceptions. You will surrender your license today. Third, community service, 1,000 hours. You will serve them at Rhode Island Hospital, in the emergency room, every Saturday and Sunday for the next 2 years. 8 hours each day. You will mop floors, empty bedpans. See what real nurses like Thomas Chen do every day. Your supervisor will report to me monthly. His face was pale now. Fourth, public accountability. You will write a handwritten apology letter, 5 pages minimum, 1 page for each victim and 1 for their community. You will read it aloud at Providence High School in front of 500 students. The school will record it. That video will be part of the public record. Fifth, special conditions. You will attend alcohol counseling twice a week for 5 years. You will submit to random drug and alcohol testing. Any violation means immediate jail time. I paused. And sixth, for your contempt of this court, your disrespect, your attitude, your complete lack of remorse, I'm holding you in contempt. 30 days in the adult correctional institutions, starting now. The courtroom gasped. Derek's face went from pale to red. You can't. Officer Martinez. Martinez stepped forward. He pulled out handcuffs. Derek backed away. This is insane. My father. Your father isn't here, Derek. I am. Martinez cuffed him. Derek struggled. His lawyers shouted objections. I let them. Then I spoke over them. Derek, you wanted to know how long this would take. Here's your answer. It's going to take the rest of your life, because those families don't get their lives back. They don't get to move on. Every birthday, every holiday, every school play, they'll feel that empty space forever. Derek was breathing hard. Tears filled his eyes, not from remorse, from anger. You can appeal this sentence, I continued. That's your right, but let me tell you something. Every judge in this state knows what you did. Every jury will see that video. Your name will always be connected to this. That's not a legal punishment, that's just reality. Martinez started leading him away. Derek turned back. This isn't fair, he shouted. I stood up. You're right, Derek. It's not fair. It's not fair that Thomas Chen worked 2 jobs and still died on the way home. It's not fair that Maria Chen spent her life helping others and got killed by someone who didn't care. It's not fair that Lily and Emma never got to grow up. My voice got louder. What's happening to you isn't unfair, Derek. It's justice. And maybe, if you spend the next few years thinking about that, you'll finally understand the difference. The doors closed behind him. 3 months later, I got a letter. It was from Derek. Handwritten, messy, 5 pages. He apologized, really apologized. He talked about his first day at the hospital, how he saw a car accident victim come in, how he finally understood what he'd done. I don't know if he meant it. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. That wasn't for me to decide anymore. But I kept the letter. I also got a letter from Maria's sister. She thanked me, said the sentence wouldn't bring her family back, but it helped to know someone fought for them. That letter sits on my desk. Some nights I stay late in my courtroom. The lights are off, the building is quiet, and I think about cases like Derek's. I think about how easy it is to forget that behind every case number, there are real people, real families, real pain. The law isn't perfect. It can't bring people back. It can't erase grief. But it can do one thing. It can say, clearly and loudly, no one is above it. Not the rich, not the powerful, not the connected. In my courtroom, everyone stands equal, and that's not just a rule. It's a promise.